Okay, we're going to do a Webquest, and this basically covers what we've just learned about Crucible and Salem during the time of the witch trials in 1692. And the first assignment that we're going to do before we actually engage in the reading, which we'll do next week, is kind of a Webquest, which is a research-based project that we're going to do. It's very basic. Some of the websites have already been found. If you do not like them, you may go ahead and go to Google and find your own if you wish. But let's start with you downloaded on the Google Classroom the worksheet, which should be right here, called the Salem Witch Trial Webquest. Go ahead and click and open that, and it'll look just like this. When it comes up, it kind of gives you an introduction into the Salem trials, which we already have a pretty good working foundation right now. And here's the process on this Webquest and what we'll be doing individually in class. We'll explore some of these sites, and we will use, feel free to use also the online dictionary if you need to. And so phase one is kind of like the background. These are some of the websites, and all you have to do is hit Control and click, and that will open up the site for you to the location. Let's hope that some of these links are still working. Unable to... I forgot how this was set up. Okay, so when this comes up, right click on it and copy the hyperlink, okay? And when you do, then you can go to the internet and paste it in, and that will allow you to go to the actual website itself. In this particular one, it doesn't look like the witch trials are in there. Let's go back and see if another one works. Copy hyperlink. Let's go back. Paste. Let's see where this one leads. Let's go to... wonder if we can type in Salem. There we go. Got these set up. Alright, so we do have witch trials and stuff there. Now, in the event, while you're looking also on the Webquest, if some of these do not function, like I said, then what you can do is basically go and go on to Google itself and look up different things that you want to find. But most of them are still functioning. Anyway, this is your job. You're going to do the history of Salem witch trials, and there are 3 questions. You choose one of them, okay? So say, for instance, we are going to talk about this one here. On what basis were people convicted? So I would copy that, and I would go to my apps, open up Google Docs, and I'm going to create a new one. From that new one, I'll go ahead and paste the first question. And so this one here is going to be, when we go back and look at the paper, it's going to be the history of Salem witch trials. So I'll just copy that and put that in as at my beginning. Paste. So now I know which question I'm doing. I'm doing the first portion. I'm going to do question 3, and then I'm going to answer it. Now, because this is research-based, and I'm not asking you to paraphrase, I'm not asking you to do any of that stuff, I'm just asking you to find the information. I want you to go in and look at the historical aspect of it and people and why they were, you know, maybe recorded or why they were accused, and that's what we're kind of look at for the information that we're in the process of finding. So, you know, in the event that I wanted to use Google, I may say why were, or I should say how were people accused of witchcraft during the Salem witch trials of 1692, question mark. And as soon as I do, you can see some information. So there's a witch museum that gives me some information from kids' questions that has some, which actually is one of your lists. If we go in there and click on it, we can look at and read some of these things, and it gives us examples on how people were made to be tried, and how you were accused. Once you find your information, let's just say I'm not going to read through it, but let's say this is the information that I'm looking for. I can copy it and go back to my document and paste it in there and have that information. Then I would go to my next portion of it, which is, then I'd scroll down, and the next one is researching the trials. And so I'd copy it and go back and paste it. And now I begin the next one. And so the one that I may want to do when I'm looking at is, what do you notice about the accusers? And I copy that and paste it in as well. And basically there's only 3 things. So you go here, then you have the culture of Salem, and that's it. Then once you're done with that, the last part is to create a picture, a poster, a flyer that you'll post around Salem, okay? And so now that we've done the research, you look at this piece, and let's say I'm done with this. All right, so I want to go to File, and I want to download as a Word document. And when I do, that'll save it. And it'll give me that save. Now, I want to open and create a new, we're going to go with presentation, if you will. And so remember that I'm creating a flyer, and this flyer is going to represent the witch trials. So I may try to add a little bit of flair to it or something like that. That might be, let's go with the dark gradient. And there's the theme I'm going with on mine. Okay. Now this is a text boxes, and we can change them around any way we want. And so if I'm going to the witch trials, let's say that there's pictures that I want to use. So let's say that this is one that I want. I'm going to copy the image and insert it. Well, that's if I saved it. Let's just right click and paste it. Okay, so once I get my picture in there, that may be something that I want to operate with. In the way I create my file, I'm going to change the parameters. Now, most of the time what I do is I just delete the originals, and I go to insert, and then I put my own text box. So I have one text box here, and then and I might put obviously I need to change this. Doggone it. All the little things. And so what you're doing is you're creating a flyer that represents and is trying to be beneficial to the people in Salem who, for all practical purposes, are innocent. So I may go again to Google, and I might look for some images. So Salem witch trials. And if I go to images, I'm sure I'm going to get quite a few graphic images. So let's say I want this small image. So I'm going to copy the image, and I'm going to bring it over to my title, and I'm going to paste it in. And let's say this is where I want, and then I may insert another text box. And of course change my font. Beware God's wrath to those innocently accused. And so I'm creating a flyer that's supposed to spread an awareness that the trials are false, that the trials are negative. And I'm going to create this slide as I see fit. Now, obviously, I want to get a little more in depth when I'm doing this stuff, and you know, I want to change maybe some of the font to make it look more you know, graphic. It doesn't, you know, as far as that goes, something more elaborate, and then increase the size. You know, something that's beneficial, maybe with some coloration and stuff. Once I get the slide done, my flyer done, and I want it to be filled, you know, I want it to look professional with, you know, some elements that bring fear to the people there, that would spur them into action, something that is that can be used on a level that will add a little bit of flavor to it. And so I'm looking for concrete commercialism that will convince. Remember, look, it says you must create a bold, persuasive flyer to post around Salem. And remember that the people that you're sending it to, they are the Salem people, okay? You want them to unite into action. You want them to basically overthrow the courts, to stand up against their oppressors, which is the government, and stop the trials. And so you have to be sensitive. You can't say, you know, that God is dead, or that, you know, you have to be smart about how you go about doing this. So you don't want to insult people, because all that'll do is when they read it is they'll be negative about it. So this is what I kind of want you to do for your last part. So you're going to answer the questions, and you only choose one question. So there's only 3 questions you're doing, and then you're creating a flyer for it. And that's it. When you're done with the flyer, again, when you're done with the flyer, make sure that you go to File, Download as a PowerPoint, or actually in this case you could do a JPEG if you want, but you could do a PowerPoint, and click on it, and then again upload them both. Go to your classroom and click on the Webquest and upload both of them to it. Your questions in your Word document and your picture, and that's it. Good luck.